Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast. Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
23 minutes before the news at 8 is our time right here on Kapi Talk 100.4 FM. And that is our beat. Time for us to check out what's making headlines in the world of business. You have got questions to do with business as always. Come through on our WhatsApp platform 0719-100404 and post those questions to Kudzie to help us with responses. 0719-100404. Good morning to you, Kudzie. How are you today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
Great. Thanks so much, Kudzie. Let's begin by looking at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange trading update for yesterday.
Thank you, Tinashe. So, yes, the market continues to come off, and the all-share index was down by a margin of 0.83%. The top 10 index down by 0.56%, and then the medium cap index, those are the companies that are in the mid in terms of market capitalization. I think that's where most losses were recorded, if the index was down by 1.53%. And there were only three companies that recorded gains, and that's BAT, which put on 6.53%, and then Citco and Hippo Valley gaining by 0.75% and 0.18% respectively. So not much movement on the upside on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. And then on the downside, you have what the biggest loser was Pro Plastics, down by 14.98%. And then you have got Art Corporation, which is down by 14.97%. So with regards Art Corporation, yesterday they actually released some financials, which showed that, it hasn't been an easy period for art, and these are the results for the year ending 30 September 2024, where the company chairman, that's Dr. Thomas Utewushe, said that revenue has declined by 11% compared to prior year, and he's saying that this is largely due to product availability challenges and the deliberate decision to scale down on paper production. So art is into tissue manufacturing, stationery manufacturing. They're also into, we know the popular brand when it comes to writing pens, that's Eversharp. And also they are into battery, so that's battery for vehicles and batteries for solar. But in this case, they're telling us that they had product availability. Some of their products were not available, and this was due to a deliberate decision to scale down on paper production. And then on the export front as well, volumes were down by 15% because of foreign currency challenges in Zambia and Malawi, which worsened payment delays. So this is the market where they go there, they sell in either Zambian kwacha or Malawian kwacha, but the money has to be converted into US dollars so that they can bring it back to Zimbabwe. But with such challenges, it meant that maybe some of their money in those markets were delayed, payments were delayed, and that resulted in their export volumes coming off. And then that's art, but they still managed to register an operating profit of about 1 million, although at profit before tax level, it was actually a loss before tax of 1.5 million, which was weighed down by restructuring costs of about 675,000. So this is what art has been doing. But however, the energy storage segment, which is the battery division, showed resilience despite an 8% decline in overall battery volume. So that's art, which was one of the losers on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange yesterday. It was the second biggest loser. And then also down was Tanganda, down by 14.28%. TSL coming off by 13.04%. We know that TSL is on the verge of acquiring Nampec, a 51% stake in Nampec. That's TSL. And then Wheeldale also down by 12.5%. That's the brick maker. And since the beginning of the year, Wildo is now in the negative territory, down by 12.5% year to date. So you find that there are counters that are actually in the negative territory. Then there are others that are positive when you look at the nominal number. For example, you've got Citco, which is up by 28.5% since the beginning of the year. However, when you then put into consideration currency depreciation, inflation, then you can actually see this counter, even though it's showing a positive outturn, the real return might be in the negative territory. So quite a number of ZSC stocks are now in the negative territory in real terms. Investors continue to invest in Delta, getting the bulk of the funds, about 12.7 million. VIG worth of shares changing hands there. Econet getting about 5.4 million. NMB 1.5 million. And then Tanganda and BAT also getting a sizable chunk of the funds that were invested. So that's how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange has been trading as of yesterday.
All right. Thanks so much, Kudzie, for that update. And this is Business Focus, proudly brought to you by the People's Own Savings Bank. We believe in bringing convenience right to your doorstep. We are glad to advise that we have opened a new sub-service center in Borodale, located at the Zimpost Borodale offices, where you can access a full range of POSB services, including new account opening, cash withdrawals and deposits, loan applications, cash collection for money transfer services like POSB, Remita, Western Union, Mukuru, MoneyGram, and Mama Money. And also we are doing business and institutional banking and so much more. So why don't you come through to the new sub-service center in Borodale from POSB. 120 years of making life simply possible. So Kudzie, let's look at the regional markets. How are they faring?
Thank you, Tinashe. So before we move to the regional markets, maybe just to also highlight what happened on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, which gained by 1.19%. So this has taken its year-to-date outturn to a positive, however, a very marginal 0.26% year-to-date gain there after the 1.19% gain yesterday. And this was on the back of gains in Edgar's, Insco, National Foods, and Simbisa, with about $10,000 being invested in that market, down from $39,000 the previous day. So that's not much happening again as well on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And then on the region, it seems like most markets trading sideways, with losses being recorded, marginal losses, and all of these that I'm talking about were in the less than 1% losses. So that's the markets in Tunisia, Egypt, Ivory Coast, Uganda, Zambia, and Ghana. All those markets were in the negative territory, however, less than 1%. Heavy losses were, however, recorded in South Africa. That's the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, down by 1.59%, as well as the Namibia Stock Exchange, down by 1.63%. And then there were markets that were positive. That's in Botswana, Kenya, the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and as well as in Morocco and Mauritius. But the top riser were markets in Malawi, up by 2.03%, followed by those in Tanzania, up by 1.32%. So that's how markets are trading like in the region.
All right. Thank you so much, Kudzie, for that update. It's Business Focus right here on Capi Talk 100.4 FM. That is Heartbeat. You can also listen online on www.capitalkfm.co.zw 14 minutes before 8. So, Kudzie, it's been a long time since we last spoke about currencies. How are they performing?
Thank you, Tinashe. So, I think the US dollar is gaining ground against other currencies. For example, against the South African rand, we have seen that the rand has been much stronger this year since they formed that government of national unity in South Africa, and the rand has been trading below 18. However, as of this morning, the rand is 18 rand is equivalent to $1. So $1 will get you 18 rand. In the last couple of weeks, it was giving you about 17 points. And in terms of rand. So the dollar is gaining there. It's also gaining against the Zambian kwacha, where $1 will get you 27.67 Zambian kwacha. It's also gaining ground against the British pound, where $1 will get you 0.78 British pounds. It means that your relative, if they are going to send you money for the festive season in form of remittances, if they want to send you a dollar for you to receive $1 here in Zimbabwe, they need to pay a little bit more in terms of pounds because of the US dollar gaining against the pound. In euro, $1 will get you 0.95 euros rather. So that's the dollar there firming against the other currencies.
All right. Let's also look just before we go, as we wait for a couple of questions that are coming through on our WhatsApp platform, 0719-100404. Kudzie, what is the latest on the land reform?
Yeah, thank you, Tinashi. So yes, there have been confirmed developments. So there's a committee, a commission on land tenure that was appointed. And it has actually been going around meeting with farmer organizations. Like this is like you're talking about your ZSU, Zimbabwe Farmers Union, and other farmer organizations that the committee has been meeting. And the agenda for that meeting is that there are now plans for there's been changes to the in terms of land reform. When you look at the land reform, remember the other time we were saying that the 99-year leases that were being issued in the past, the permits that were being issued in the past, they going forward, government will no longer issue those offer letters, those 99-year leases, those permits will now be obsolete, and no more or no new ones will be issued going forward. So there were some stakeholder engagements with the Land Tenure Committee that was appointed by President Mnangagwa. And the new development is that they now want the farmers that benefited from the land reform for them to be given new title deeds that are transferable, that are bankable. These farmers, remember, when it was announced that they will now get new title deeds, there was an outcry from some sectors of the Zimbabwean population saying that why should people get title deeds for land that they got for free? What about those who didn't get the land for free? And to make matters worse, there is a debt of about 3.5 billion that needs to be paid to the former farmers. So people are saying, why should the taxpayer pay 3.5 billion to these former farmers? And yet, it's other people that benefited from these farms. And people are saying, those who benefited from the farms should pay for the farms that they benefited. So now, news is that, and this has been confirmed, the cost price per square meter. So the new farmers will have to pay per square meter. The range is between 0.03, which is about 3 cents, and 10 cents per square meter, which means that, for example, a farm that is located in a region where you are supposed to pay about 5 cents per square meter, it will cost you $500 per hectare. So if you are in that region, you pay $500 per hectare. But if you are in that region where you have to pay 10 cents per square meter, it means that you pay $1,000 per hectare. And these are the new developments when it regards to farming. And they're saying in case where a farmer does not have resources to pay cash, the farmer will approach the following banks. There are banks that are named. There are about 4 banks that were named so that the farmer can get what is known as a mortgage bond. And the mortgage bond will be repayable over a period of 20 years and at an interest rate of 7.5% per annum. So these are the new developments. But already I'm seeing in various groups, various experts and analysts saying that even that payment, they are saying the money that is going to be paid is too little. They are saying that if there is going to be land, for example, naturally for your farm, and you actually bought your farm, and there's a value to that farm. Maybe let's say you paid, let's say 10,000 per hectare. Now, farmers who are next to you, who got the land for free, their land is now available at $500 per hectare. Yet yours was valued at $10,000 per hectare. Automatically, your land, the value of your land is no longer 10,000 because you have title deeds for your land at 10,000, but the farmer next door now has title deeds for his land, but at $500 per hectare. Already there is some kind of a devaluation. So this is not me. This is not my analysis, but these are. I think one of them is Dr. René Mano, who is an agriculture economist, and he gave this observation to say immediately the value of land for those who actually bought their farm, that value will go down. And so interesting. We'll continue to monitor and give you updates on the debates that are already ongoing with regards to that. Others were also saying why did government choose only 4 banks to benefit from giving out these mortgage facilities. I'm not sure what the Land Tenure Committee, how they came up with these 4 banks, but what I can see, these 4 banks are government-related institutions. They are partly owned by government. The banks that I've seen there, AFC, CPZ, SBC, and POSB, they are government, partly government-owned. Some of them are wholly owned by government. POSB, for example, is owned by the Mutapa Investment Fund. So maybe that was the criteria that was used to say let's use government-related banks. But there are other government-related banks that are not part and parcel of that. We don't know what the conversation was like. Maybe some banks didn't want to be part of this arrangement. You never know. So we'll follow up on that to see what criteria was used. But that is a question that was also raised by other analysts to say why these banks? Why don't we allow all banks to benefit from this arrangement? So yeah, that's the latest with regards to the land tenure and land development in Zimbabwe.
Right, Kudzie. Okay, there's a question here that says, am I allowed to reduce my hectareage?
I think it's allowed. You can surrender. I remember a conversation that I had with one government Minister of Agriculture official that you can surrender and say, guys, I've got only capacity for 10 hectares. You gave me 20 hectares, but they might then say this area that you are in is for A2 farmers, and you want to be an A1 farmer. So I think that conversation can be had. Maybe you'll be allowed to then they can subdivide the farm and give it to others, and the other portion to other farmers who remember that there are still a lot of people that are looking for land. I think that should be possible.
There's another question coming in from Maichido. Maichido varikuti ivo naikudzi nyatsonditsanangurira zvinomborevei zvauri kutaura zveland reform handina kunyatsonzwisisa. Maybe if you can do that briefly, Kudzi.
Yeah, tanga chireva kuti kune vanhu vakagoverwa minda negovernment pakaitwa land reform. Minda iyi vakaiwana mahara. Kumashure uku vaipiwa ainzi maoffer letters, ma99 year leases, pamwe chete neaizi mapermits, aivatendera kuti vange vachirima paminda iyoyo zviri pamutemo. Asi kune vaimbove varidzi vemafamu aya, varungu vaimbove varidzi vemafamu, pakabvumiranwa, hurumende yedu ikatozvisa paconstitution kuti tinofanira kubhadhara varimi ivavo, vakare ivavo mari nokwana iyo $3.5 billion. Saka zvaakuitwa manje nekomiti yeland tenure ndezvekuti ivavo varimi maZimbabweans vakabhenefita, vakapiwa minda, vanofanira kuti vabhadhare o vatenge minda iyi. Kana uine 1 hectare unogona kunzi tipe $300 per hectare yega yega, kana kuti $500 per hectare yega yega, kana kuti up to $1,000 per hectare yega yega, zvichidependa nekuti uri muregion ipi. Kana uri muregion 1 maybe zvinoti dhurei, kana uri muregion 5 maybe zvinoti chipei. Ndo mutemo, ndo urongwa huripo hwavari kutonge vakutoudza mafarmers union akaita sana ZFU, vakatoita misangano yekuvaudza kuti ndo zvaakurongwa kuti zviitwe. aya ma-private conversations anga achitoitika, maybe tichazoparurirwa senyika kuti ndo zvarongwa izvi ndo zvaakuitwa, maybe panguva ino achingori ma-consultation, but vamiriri vema-farmers union ivavo vamwe vatakataura navo vakatokonfirma kuti zveshuwa ndo hurukuro dziri kuitwa idzodzo. Ameno kana vanibata ipapo.
Aiwa, ndinovimba maichido vanzwisisa mukutsanangura kwamaita mukoma Kudzie. Thank you so much Kudzie for business focus for today. But just on a lighter note, wakanganwa one message before you go.
Ndeikupeyo night na.
Aiwa, urwiziwa sha. Ingoita wega sha.
Yes. Thank you Tinashe for reminding me. Saka ndinoda kuti nhasi izuva rekuzvarwa ramamoyo vanonzi mai wangu. And I want to say happy birthday to my wife, Precious. We call her the Precious One. And on Precious Sharara. Happy birthday to you, my wife. We wish you many more years that are blessed beyond measure. Thank you, Tinashe.
All right, Kudzie, but before you go, manje iwewe panyaya business, ndione ngotinyatsonzwisa business and how to do the saving. Anenge achita accounts dzacho ndiani? Ndimai Sharara here kana kuti ndiwo unoita accounts dzacho? All right, Kudzie, thank you so much. Just before you go, we also want to say happy birthday to Mrs. Sharara, wishing you many more years to come, and also happy birthday to General Manager Stakeholder Relations for ZESA, Dr. George Manyaya, who is also the board chair for Zinara. Happy birthday to you, Dr. George Manyaya. We wish you many more years. Yeah, we wish you many more years, Doc. Tukona zvamuri kutiitira, tiri kufara nazvo. Thank you so much. Wishing you many more years to come from all of us here at Business Focus. We truly appreciate you. Kudzie, thank you so much as well. Have yourself a lovely Wednesday.
Thank you, Tinashe. Bye.
Business Focus with Kudzie Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.